Greetings, Earthlings. I'm Amy, and this is our conspiracy. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through a self-portrait watercolor. And I hope you enjoy it. I think it'll be entertaining and instructional. Anyway, it is a self-portrait. So please don't call it a selfie. That is one of my pet peeves. And I'll tell you why. Portraits, self-portraits are a time-honored, long tradition throughout all of art history. Here's a great example, Van Gogh. Look at this beautiful portrait. This is Rembrandt. We have Frida Kahlo. Anyway, self-portraits are a intimate, long, deep look into someone looking at themselves and bringing in different elements, and it's a time-honored tradition that goes way back, and I think goes deep, and really says a lot about the inner life of the person as well as what they look like. You know, that's in a way the least of it. And to call it a selfie, a selfie is a modern convention. It's a fraction of a second on a digital phone, usually sort of a vanity project of sorts. I mean, Google selfies and you'll see what pops up and you'll see what I mean. So for me, there's a huge difference between a self-portrait and a selfie. And I just want to throw that out there. Having said that, just to confuse the waters a little bit, this is actually going to be a self-portrait selfie. Or maybe it's a selfie self-portrait, I'm not sure. But I took this photograph the other day and I loved the distortion. It was fun. Anyway, so I'm going to do a self-portrait of me taking a selfie of myself. So that's pretty deep. Anyway, this is the source photo. And one of the first things I want to say is I almost never use one photo because I don't even want to be remotely tempted to copy the photo. So I work from multiple sources. Anyway, this is the larger view of the scene. Here's a little closer. And again, this mirror was very distressed. So I'm not going to put any of that in, although that could be interesting as well, but I'm going to leave that out. But the fact that it's not a particularly good photograph is good. I think it's better to work from a photograph that's flawed, and then you have to make it better. Two of my three companions are in the background, and I end up adding the third one in there. So through the magic of video, here is my drawing. And if you want to learn to draw, you can take a class or you can watch a different video. I'm coming up with a bunch of videos that I'm going to be posting, so stay tuned. But anyway, this was my initial drawing. How long did it take me, you ask? About 45 years. I mean, I'm joking, but only half joking. It takes a while to get good, but it's not rocket science. And if you have a good teacher and you practice, you can learn to draw. I've never met anybody that couldn't learn to draw. So if you're interested. Anyway, this is a very skeletal drawing, very simple, just suggestions of the shapes, particularly in the background. And you're not seeing the paint here, but I did a lot of changes and had to change things along the way. So in particular, I wanted to do something interesting in the glasses. And if I go back to the original photograph, you can see one, I have a mask on, which I decided not to include. And my glasses are just brown. You can't see anything. But I thought because they are so close to the eyes and right in the middle of the composition, it would be interesting to have something cool in the glasses. And I think it's fun to paint reflection. So I had to invent all that. Because it wasn't in the photograph. Yay! Anyway, the scene that is in the photograph is going to be literally what I'm looking at in the mirror in reverse. So I did a quick sketch and I actually, reversed it and I put it into the glasses. And so that's something that I had to work with. This was the background distortion and basic colors that I had to work with. Okay, so on to the next part. I need to get out of my screen share. Give me a second. Okay, now on to the demo. So here's my big drawing. And before I start, I want to talk to you a little bit about the plan. So when you're doing a watercolor, it's really helpful to have a plan going in. Just generally, what you want to be soft edges, which watercolor does so well, versus hard edges, what might be strong saturated color versus what might be neutral color in the background. Usually you have a lot of neutrals. So anyway, in short, I have my red hair, and I have like a reddish orange top on. Those are going to be very poppy colors, um, as well as some hints of that in the glasses. And then my three figures are going to stand out a little bit, but generally the background is going to stay in the background and be fairly neutral and fairly indistinct. So I'm going to put my energy and sort of specific details only in the head and the glasses in particular, you know, sort of crescendo in the glasses. Having said that, I don't have my photograph anymore because it's on the computer, which is actually good. So I don't keep looking at it. But I had to do a quick sketch here just to point out where my light source is, which I kind of made up because it was a cloudy day when I took that photograph and there's no strong light. And light is great to give you a reason to break up the form and to shift your color. So I always kind of know where my light's coming from. And I put in notation, red, brown, here, white, black, you know, just general color, just to remind me. And again, I think it's really great to not have the photograph right there because you're so tempted to copy it and keep looking at the photograph and comparing, which is not good. And I do want to say one other quick thing. As often is the case, I actually, in some ways, like my really super quick crude sketch better than the one that I took time on. And that says something, isn't it? But like I always say, all of these, this little one, this big one, they're my teachers. All my drawings are teachers and my watercolors are teachers. And so I respect them. And sometimes they teach me what I do wrong. And I respect that. So always be kind to your artwork, even if it doesn't go well, because it's teaching you something that's very important. So anyway, having said that, I have my color notation. So I'm going to start painting, and I am going to stop the video now and then. I'm not going to make you sit through the whole thing, but I'm hopefully going to share with you some of the highlights. I'm working from just my travel kit, not my studio kit, you know, which is more tube colors. This is just portable pan colors. Here's my cheat sheets to help me see, because you see, it's very hard to see what these colors are. So I always, when I get a new kit, I make something like this, and it's laminated, which is very nice. So I'm ready to go. Again, my plan, I'm going to do the background somewhat generic. When I started painting, I often start in an area of the painting that I'm not too worried about it being precise. Like I wouldn't want to start with the glasses because I have to use a small brush. I have to be very careful. It's very small information, but the background is this big general gray parking lot. So I'm going for that first. So I'm going to mix in neutral and just jump in. So, okay. I'm going to get my biggest brush. And I really like to use the colors that are in my mixing tray here because they're already sort of dirty. And if you want a neutral color, it's often a mix of other colors. So I'm just like picking up everything that's handy. And I'm seeing what the heck happens here. This is still kind of brown, and I want it to be not particularly cool or warm. So it's sort of toward the red. So I'm going to add a little Payne's gray, which is going to make it a little bluer. And I always have a cheat sheet to see what my color is. Oh yeah. Okay, that's good. So again, I'm just going to go for it. I'm standing up, which is great. Sometimes it's better to stand up. Okay, so I'm going to just jump in with abandon. Wah! Working around my body because I want that to stand out. And I'm mindful of what my brush strokes are doing because some of them might end up staying. And I grab tissues, which are great. And here's my parking lot going out. Look at that. parking lot already. And all this is going to disappear pretty quickly once I get the orange pop color going and different things. So I'm just laying in my background with a little bit of abandon, having fun. I can leave some of these strokes here if I want to. And you can see where I pull up my brush and I pick it up, I leave a little bead of water, and that can be very nice. So instead of going outward and leaving that, I bring it into the image, which is obviously, I am the star of the show. I'm looking here, oh, here, this is dark here. I want another dark to here so it's not isolated. There we go. So when you're painting, you're always thinking about what's going on everywhere. I know that this church, this Wat, this is the temple. I am in Thailand, for those of you who don't know. And I'm using a big brush for a little area, but you know, it's almost better because you can't get it too perfect, and I don't want it to be too perfect anyway. I'm just ballparking things here. So there we go, establishing my temples up there and my sky. What else? Now I got this gray. I'm thinking, what else? What else can be gray? My cell phone. I switched to a smaller brush. And I also added more water to the mix so it's lighter. I'm going to have a little bit of light at the top of the phone. So I'm doing a base color. Add in some more, just variation. There we go. Sound effects are good. I'm going to have a light area at the very top. So I'm going to add a little bit of more dark right where it's going to hit the light so that there's contrast. You see that? But because everything's wet, it's going to kind of spread out a little. Maybe some more over here. Okay. All right, I'm going to pause the video and I'll be back in a second. Hang on. And we're back. Just so it didn't take so long, I added the sky while we were on the break, while you guys were taking a break, so to speak. Anyway, added the sky, did a wash, pulled out some clouds with a tissue, add a little green. I also paid a little attention to my figures back here, let them dry a little bit before I do the next stage. So I'm building this up. So now that you're back, let's do something really fun. Let's do the red orange. Oh yeah. So I'm using 2 different oranges. And again, I'm putting them in my mixing tray because God forbid they should be totally pure. It's not my style. Anyway, red, orange, and I'm going in, baby. Oh yeah. Look at that. So much fun. And often when I have a shape and I'm just doing the base color so I can modify this shape once I get it on. And I'm just blocking it in with my big brush. And I left a little white thing. I didn't plan on that, but sometimes those little things are great with watercolor. Just let the paper show through here and there. Look at that. Oh yeah, baby. Using the edge, my brush. Again, I left a little bit of white. There we go. That's good for now. And then you can see it's sort of puddling a little bit. And if you don't like that texture, you can come in and smooth it out while it's still wet. Ooh, and then of course, while I'm at it, I better do the corresponding red in my glasses. Because that's me that I'm seeing in my glasses. So I'm in here. So it's going to be a suggestion. That's the suggestion of me. That'll look more obvious later when I get on some of the other stuff. Okay, so while I got my red, think I'm going to make it my hair. So I don't want my hair as bright. So I'm going to tone it down with some other browns. I have two browns next to each other and I often use them both, especially if I'm using a big brush. I just dip them in both. And so look at that. I'm modifying that bright red, making it more of my hair color. Okay, good. So then I mixed it with my big brush, but if I feel like that's not the right brush, I can always pick up another one. So I'm going to do a round one here. Okay, again, wah! Working with a little bit of abandon. Not going to try to stay in my lines. Painted a little bit of my ear. That's okay. Okay, good. Okay, now look, I did my base color, but let's say I want it to be darker, because I know my light source is coming from the right. So now I'm just going to drop in some darker paint. Just to give it some variation. Oh yeah, very fun. Maybe some darker here. Okay, my eyebrows, I'm going to make a little bit browner because my eyebrows aren't really red. Now, generally, I would think I would do my skin tones before I do the eyebrows, but I'm in a bit of a rush. So there we go. Okay, good enough. My purse down here is kind of red tones, but I'm just going to start to create a pattern. You know, it's a little bit hard to see. It's not really that important what's going on down here. We know it's a purse or it's part of my dress. It's not really that important. In fact, I'm just going to sort of let this go off into a blurry kind of mess. I like to let the painting be a little bit more abstract at the edges. So you actually see the painting process here and there. Now here I'm just smoothing out some of those puddles that I mentioned earlier. Some of them are okay, but I maybe had a couple too many. So there we go. Okay. All right. And then there's some black down here, some lemon yellow up here. I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to pause again, jump forward for you. Okay. Hold on. Be right back. Okay. I'm going to jump in for the skin tones. I think while we were away, I did a little bit more work on the yellow and so forth. But anyway, skin tones can be sort of daunting, but they're not that hard, really. Anyway, I'm worried. I don't know if my eyebrows are dry, but I'm going to do a base color. I'm going to just, wow. Look at this bravery I'm demonstrating. I know this looks pretty awful at the moment, but you must keep the faith. Well, I picked up some red from my dress. Don't panic. Okay, get my trusted tissues. I'm going to blot out my light source. Look at that, no problem. No problem at all. Some variation. Look at that. No problem. Honestly. Sometimes our worst mess becomes our friend because it makes it interesting. But you have to let it happen. You have to let a little bit of random stuff occur. Okay. Have your tissue handy too, that helps. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little tiny bit of letting my nostril be dark over there. Maybe not. And my upper lip. So I'm going to make a little bit more red. Here we go. Oh yeah, this is happening. Your top lip is usually darker than your lower lip because it's in the shade. Your lower lip sticks out a little bit and catches the light. So I'm just going to put a little bit of color. Look at that. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, I'm going to do the rest of the skin tone. Be right back. Okay. Got some more skin tones on. I played around with this area, which I actually completely forgot what was in the photograph, and I didn't have it in my sketch. So I just made it color and pattern, and it's not important. What's important is that it's just a believable background. You can fill in, what it's supposed to be, just interesting shapes leading up to the main attraction. And also the hands are relatively sort of crude, but they're the right size and they're the right shape and they're believable. And the truth is all the crescendo, all the action's going to be in the glasses anyway. So looseness and relative unfinished quality of everything else is good. I want that. So anyway, I am going to get out the teeny tiny brushes, which is always the last thing for me. Anyway, teeny tiny brushes, and I'm going to work on the glasses, and I might let it dry and also use drawing material. And so it goes into the realm of mixed media. But I'm going to work on the glasses, and then I will report back, and that will be momentarily as far as you're concerned. But who knows what pain I'm going to go through in the next 15 minutes. So, okay, be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I had a great time with this. Um, Sometimes the finish part, where you're using your small brush and your small tools can be the most excruciating time. You don't have as much freedom and you don't want to wreck what you like. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with this. Again, this is my little teacher. And I'm probably going to dot some more I's and cross some more T's later. But anyway, get the idea. I promise to post the picture of this when it's completely finished for you to see. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and just don't call it a selfie. Anyway, keep in touch. Again, I'll be posting more videos coming up, so I'll see you then. Okay, bye now.